boy. Okay, good to go? All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Giacobbe?
Here.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Here.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Here.
Councilman Marcocha?
Here.
Supervisor Colavita?
Here. Good evening, everyone. Anyone care to address the board for our first opportunity to address the board on a specific agenda item? Now, there being none, we're going to move forward to approval of the minutes of the June 4th Town Board meeting. Any modifications or amendments?
None.
Nope. There being none, someone can make a motion to approve same as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Giacobbe?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson? Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Marcocha?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye. Next, the reports of departments, boards, and commissions. Police Department report. Chief Rodriguez.
Good evening, Supervisor Colavita, members of the Town Board. Just a couple items to go over tonight. In the months of July and August, we'll be participating in an aggressive driving enforcement grant, which we received from New York State. We're going to be targeting drivers specifically who don't yield to pedestrians and who do other forms of aggressive driving, speeding, stop sign, not stopping at stop signs, and not yielding to other vehicles. We're going to be addressing areas that were brought up to TPAC and they had forwarded to us. And I'd like to thank Lieutenant Graff for putting that together. And if anybody has any areas of concern, please forward them to TPAC so that we can address them. In May, after a several months long investigation, we arrested a defendant who had committed a computer scam against one of our elderly senior citizen residents. He scammed her out of tens of thousands of dollars, saying that there was a virus on her computer. After we arrested him, we found that he was part of a criminal ring who's been doing this all throughout Westchester. I think Bronxville recently had a similar case. So we want to remind our residents, be vigilant, especially elderly residents. If you have any questions or you think something's a scam, make sure to reach out to somebody trusted, somebody, a family member or a friend, and never pay with gift cards, and never allow somebody to come as a courier to accept money for one of these services. That's all I have to report tonight.
Yeah, just want to thank the department for cracking down on the double parking on White Plains Road and Mill Road and surrounding areas. With all due respect to the DoorDash guys and the Uber Eats and all, they're double parking all over the place, creating a nightmare on an already difficult situation. So I'm glad you guys are stepping up the enforcement. Thank you. Okay, Law Department report. Mr. Rader.
Yes, good evening. First, I have a resolution authorizing the approval of an application for a fireworks event permit submitted by the Village of Tuckahoe to be held on Saturday, July 13th, 2024.
All right, so moved. Someone care to second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Giacobbe?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Marcocha?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye.
Okay, next, I have a resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute and deliver a contract and agreement between the town of Eastchester and Stewart Amusement Company, Inc., to furnish amusement rides and concessions for the Eastchester Columbus Day celebration at Lake Isle Country Club, which will be held from October 11th, 2024 through October 14th, 2024.
All right, so moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Giacobbe?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Marcocha?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye.
Okay, and last, I have a resolution authorizing a settlement of a claim by Emilio DeFeo against the town of Eastchester in the amount of $764.50 for damages sustained to Mrs. DeFeo's vehicle by a town-owned vehicle on May 24th, 2024.
So moved.
Second. Please call the roll.
Councilman Giacobbe?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Marcocha?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye. Next is the Highway Department report. Mr. Lotella, how are you, sir?
Good evening, Supervisor Colavita and members of the Town Board. I would like to report seasonal flowers were planted within various right-of-ways and flower baskets were hung on some of the main business area roadways. These flowers are a bright spot and provide a nice aesthetic beauty to our town. Work under our 2024 street resurfacing project and sidewalk and curb replacement project will be commencing soon. We ask our residents for their patience during this ongoing work. That is all I have to report.
Anything else, Mr. Latello? Thank you. Okay, we have the receiver of taxes report we can receive and file for the month of May. Town clerk's report we can receive and file. Same, anything further?
Nothing, no.
All right, that moves us over to correspondence. Our first is memorandum for the controller on personnel appointments, and these are a whole bunch of appointments for recreation, for camp counselors and the like. I'll make the motion and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Giacobbe?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Markocha?
I'm going to recuse myself from this vote.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye. Next, I have a memorandum from the controller regarding budget transfers. Got a series of transfers and salaries and contractual and some revisions in fund balance, police department, overtime, et cetera. I'll make the motion. Ask for a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Giacobbe?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Markocha?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye. Next, we have a memorandum for the Superintendent of Recreation regarding approval of a grant for senior programs and services from the Community Fund, and we thank the Community Fund for supplying our senior program with the sum of $50,000, and that's for shopping and errands, transportation, light housekeeping, programs at Lake Isle Nutrition Center, the medical escort, food shopping for seniors, and Sunday Alive program, and of course our ever-famous programs for 46 Jackson Ave Thursday Morning Group. So thank you, Community Fund, for donating to our seniors in the amount of $50,000. So I'll make the motion or the resolution asking for permission to accept the sum of $50,000 between the Community Fund and the Eastchester Senior Programs and Services. Someone care to second same?
I'll second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Giacobbe?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Markocha?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye. Next, we have a memo from the Superintendent of Recreation regarding approval of a grant from, for the teen scene from the Community Fund. This is the amount of $5,000, and that covers a lot of our transportation costs for trips, DJ nights, where we have pool parties up at Lake Isle for the teens, and that covers the DJ and a couple other sundry items. Someone care to make a motion?
So moved.
All right. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Giacobbe?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Markocha?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye. Next, we have miscellaneous business. We have our July and August Town Board meetings, and we're looking for July 16th and August 20th at 7:30 here in this room. Someone care to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilman Giacobbe?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Markocha?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye. Okay, next we have our council member reports. Councilman Markocha.
Thank you, Supervisor. I just wanted to mention that I attended the Juneteenth event at Main Street Park in Tuckahoe. It was a nice event, a beautiful day for it, and it was well attended. And I also wanted to mention that Con Ed reached out and they asked that we ask the general public to just conserve energy as best possible, particularly with the high temperatures coming this week. And they gave some suggestions, and there's a lot more if you look online, but a few were to switch off unneeded lights, keep shades, blinds, and curtains drawn to help limit the amount of air conditioning needed, use dishwashers wisely, run them when they're at full load, and try and air dry and towel off clean dishes, as opposed to using that dry cycle. And like I said, there's many more suggestions that they have if you check their website, particularly this week. If you can limit the use of energy, that would be helpful. Also today, a few of us went to Leawood Park. As you know, they're doing, we're doing a major reconstruction of the park there. It looks gorgeous. It's going to look gorgeous. Right now it's a construction site though. And we spent some time with the contractors, with the architects, and with the town hall employees as well, just making sure that everything is going according to plan, and it is. And anyone that hasn't joined Lake Isle yet should consider doing so. The pool is very full these days, and it's just a great place to be this summer. So if you haven't joined, you should consider doing that soon. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nicholson.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, everyone. I have two announcements. The Eastchester Rotary Club is having their 21st annual Mario Faustini Memorial Golf Outing on Monday, August 5th. Come out and golf. If you don't golf, they have a beautiful dinner, and they have raffles. And to receive more information, you could actually email me at tnicholson@eastchester.org, and I could send you the link to this golf outing. Also, keep on your radar, September, the Eastchester Environmental Committee is gearing up for the 2024 Green Festival. This festival will take place at the end of September, and some of their vendor ideas and invites they're considering are bringing on Sustainable Westchester, Nature's Cradle, bike educational groups, clothing swap, beekeeper, and face painting for the kids. There'll be more information to follow at next month's meeting. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Marcotte.
Thank you, Supervisor. Just a few things. In our last meeting, I mentioned that Tuckahoe was gearing up to allow residents to pay their taxes online, joining the ranks of the town and the village of Bronxville. So they do have that up and running. So if you are a resident of Tuckahoe, you can now pay your taxes online. They are not yet equipped to take credit cards, so they only have the ACH portion of it, if you will, set up. That is, of course, checking account. You would need your checking number and your ABA or your routing number, but you can go to their website to get more information. Also wanted to mention that tomorrow is Juneteenth, and I know it's a federal holiday, but the library will be open for early voting. Initially, the Board of Elections had publicized that the hours were 8 to 4. They have since changed them to 9 to 5, but again, early voting will be open tomorrow at the library from 9 to 5. Also, a reminder that Election Day is next Tuesday, a week from today, June 25th. It is a Democratic primary. You must be registered in the Democratic Party so that you can vote on a machine. Would keep in mind that you plan accordingly. I know many people vote up at the high school, and there's also a graduation going on that day. So you probably want to work around those hours. It'll be very busy. So just something to keep in mind. And then lastly, I want to offer congratulations to the new Historical Society Board. 2 weeks ago, we installed 2 co-presidents, Alyssa Halen, a longstanding member and curator, and Jack Flannery. They will be taking the helm of the Historical Society, and we welcome new members Ellen Del Cole, Maria and Michael Grillo, and Adrian Gilli, who is the junior town historian now. So we wish them lots of luck, and we congratulate them, and that concludes my report, Supervisor.
Thank you. Councilman Giacobbe.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just to remind everybody, our summer concert series starts next Wednesday, July 3rd at 8 p.m. at Garth Road. We have a total of 9 concerts this summer. Check out our website for the full schedule. This Friday, June 21st at Lake Isle, we have a beautiful fireworks display scheduled. The parking lot opens at 8 p.m. and there will be food trucks there for food. I want to send the congrats to all our students that are moving up and graduating from all our schools this year. Something interesting, if you went over to Mario Cuomo Bridge last night, it was lit up green. That was in honor of Greenvale. There was a concert last month to name 4 baby falcons on top of the bridge. And there was a 3rd grade class in Greenvale that won the contest, thanks to all the residents that voted in there, and they won it. In honor of Greenvale, they lit up the bridge green last night, so
Nice.
that was pretty cool. That concludes my report.
Thank you. For my own report, I just want to mention that Dawn Donovan, who is our controller, received the Government Financial Officers Association's recognition for outstanding public service, and she received that as regards her exemplary knowledge of the subject matter, her innovations, her leadership, and being an outstanding public servant. She is very highly regarded in the world of controllers, and want to congratulate her for all of her hard work, and she does a magnificent job for the town of Eastchester. We're very lucky to have her here. And I also wanted to congratulate all of our graduates. I attended the William E. Cottle School graduation today for our kindergartner, and it was very, very fun time. So we congratulate all the kids, and of course, we'll all be attending different events ourselves. So congrats to all as they move on, and some move into employment. That concludes my report, and that brings us to the second opportunity to address the board. Hey, come on, just give us your name and address.
Good evening. Good evening, Board. My name is Liam McMahon. Live at 96 Stewart Avenue.
Molly.
Wait, say again.
Molly McMahon
Oh,
and
okay,
Liam
okay.
McMahon. We live at 96 Stewart Ave. I wrote something, just
Sure, no problem.
did my best to read it off my phone here.
Take your time.
So we come here tonight to address the persistent negative impact Eastchester Certified Motors has had on the residents of Stewart Avenue. Since ECM opened, our street has been used as the business parking lot for overflow of cars to sell, as well as for parking for customers. It has been used by its employees in unsavory ways to gather and smoke marijuana, which we can smell in our home, and as a place to publicly urinate. It has also impacted the volume of noise that we are subjected to as employees are constantly yelling and shouting, and car alarms ring throughout the day. This is even more concerning considering that this area is highly trafficked by kids going to school on a daily basis. Since sharing our initial complaints regarding this business, there has been some improvement thanks to the police department. The buildings department has cited the business for numerous violations that have not been dealt with. The first one is the density of cars. As per 2010 building department set, only 45 cars should be on the lot, 40 on lot, 5 inside the building. Currently, there are 90 to 100 cars. Website today showcases 103 cars. This is cause for a lot of the noise pollution, banging of car doors, car alarms, etc., up until 10 p.m. at night. We are wondering why this is not being enforced. Who is responsible for enforcing it? Gary Gibbs said to call him when car alarms are ringing, but that is not feasible as he would not be able to get there in time to hear it. And we're talking like 15 to 20 car alarms a day. The packed lot also affects parking on our streets as there is zero customer parking. The area directly in front of our home is the customer parking lot. Item number 2, they installed an illegal lift inside the building. They are only supposed to be showcasing cars, not working on them. Item number 3, they have installed new lighting that blasts into our windows at night. Item number 4, garbage collection on Saturday mornings between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. Loud banging of the truck and the banging of the bin on the ground wakes our whole family.
It's like a front-loading truck.
Yeah.
Scoop it up.
The town's main goal is to preserve the integrity of the town's residential use. It is stated that priority is given to enforcing residential zoning provisions. When looking at the comprehensive plan, ECM is located in a residential zone. We come here tonight to inquire what the town can do to assist us in preserving the integrity of our own home. We have owned 2 homes on Stewart Ave. When we moved into our home, when we moved from our one home to the other, the street was mostly a peaceful and secure place to raise our children. ECM's presence has altered the character and our sense of security. Since sending our substantial documentation with tangible evidence to the supervisor, the buildings department, and the police department, it seems that only the police department took immediate action. There was a noticeable difference to their presence, and the business is no longer overrunning our streets. We are wondering when the other issues that we mentioned tonight regarding the code violations are going to be dealt with. We would also like to understand how a used car business would be approved and what is zoned as a residential neighborhood.
Sure. Well, first things first, or working backwards. The car dealership is what they call a non-conforming use, meaning it doesn't conform because that's an R3 zone, which is a 2-family house zone. But they were there since, I think, the 40s. It used to be called Jernigan Pontiac, long, long time ago. So because they were there before the code came about, they're grandfathered in, so to speak. They have the right to be there. And they have made multiple applications over the years to expand their business location into the lawn, that goes up to Lincoln Avenue, Stewart, White Plains Road, and Lincoln. And that's been denied each time. Also, when they've made those applications, when like there was a Porsche Audi dealership there, and then it became, I think, just Audis. Then they left, and then when they came in to put this new one in, that's when they were advised as to all these regulations, right? And tomorrow, literally tomorrow, Wednesday, I have a meeting with them, with the owners of the building. And I spoke with them in the past. I think the manager there was terminated because he was part of the problem. And we're going to go over all these items you just enunciated. In addition to that, I also think, and I looked over the resolution myself, there's also an issue with regard to where they park the cars. It's not even just so much the volume, it's I don't think they can park the cars up on top of the fence. And we had the police department do a drone picture, and there were at least 116 cars there. That's what I counted. And not to compound the issues, but like you said, there's no place for patrons to park. They park the cars right up to the end of the driveway. And the other day, I was going down to pick up my wife at the train station, and they had like a transport vehicle making a U-turn at Lincoln and Park, which took about 40 moves. I
No,
mean,
they've driven down our street the wrong way.
It's ridiculous.
And drive cars the wrong way, and there's kids going to school.
Yeah. So trying the other things you mentioned, the parking count, I think, is really the core issue here.
Absolutely.
Because if they can't have as many cars, which we know they can't, then they have to move them off the walls, and there becomes room for customer parking. The whole thing works a little better. Okay. I did not hear about the car alarms yet, but we'll address that tomorrow. But we, generally speaking, we speak with them a couple of times, and then if they're not cooperative, then we bring them in for a meeting, and then we prosecute on the violations. But we are trying to have them be good neighbors. And, it's important to speak with them like gentlemen and say, listen, this is the problem, okay? I know that the lift doesn't have an electrical permit. That was a violation they got. Also, there was a couple other small things, but I wasn't aware of the lighting, so I'll bring that up tomorrow as well.
I mean, you just worry if you give an inch, there's just taking liberties.
Right, well, that's what happens here, yeah.
And yeah, like the volume of cars, right, it's exponent, obviously number of car alarms. I think it's all the shuffling around. It's up until, 10 o'clock at night. If you want to get one car in, you got to move 10 other cars. Doors banging, like and the antisocial behavior. I mean, again, the police
That has
did a good
improved.
job on that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that
They
they're
hit 'em hard.
urinating in the back of the building
Yeah.
and smoking weed.
Yeah, no,
and stuff.
they had like their business set up on our street, basically.
Well, I know, I've had words with the manager, the former manager in the past, because he was putting cars on Stewart that didn't have plates on them.
Well, that was,
You
that's
know,
what we were facing.
the illegal cars. And so, especially there was one point where there was a snowstorm, and they all got plowed in, and he was fit to be tied because his guys had to dig him out.
Yeah.
And of course, the answer was if the blanking cars weren't there to begin with, you wouldn't have had to dig him out, would you?
Yeah, we had one snowstorm this year, and everyone abided by it, but except them. And then
Yeah.
the plow comes along, right? It dumps all the snow on your driveway because they have
Well,
to take the lead.
I know the owners are reputable, they have other properties in town, and they run a good ship. I think the core issue here is that when it was an Audi dealership, there was a large margin of profit, and when people wanted an Audi, they knew exactly what they wanted so they could ferry the cars in and out. With a used car lot, it's basically, they're not making a lot of money, so they need to have a lot of inventory, and they can't just drag cars all over the place. But they're going to have to, because we're going to keep them to this, 55-car, limitation.
But that's my question. How does a business like that get approved
Yeah.
to come into our town? Like, especially when it is a zoned residential area.
Yeah,
Like,
it's also awkward.
That to me is a problem.
It's by the school, near an apartment building, and it's residential.
location.
But like I said, before, remember, before the code was in effect, that dealership was there. That was there, literally, it's been there for
But
almost 80 years.
I think it was very explicit when I looked at when Audi were doing some work and everything, it was very explicit that they did not deal in pre-owned vehicles. All used trade-ins are immediately wholesaled, will not alter the essential character of the neighbourhood, preserve and protect the character of the neighbourhood and the health, safety and welfare. And I think that's how they got some of the, like a restrictive declaration, right? So I think all that's gone out the window with, Audi weren't perfect, like we had some issues, but at least they were there like maybe 9 to 6, like 6 days a week.
They were
These
closed on
guys are there.
Sundays.
It's like a very inundated with them every day, and different clientele, I guess. I mean, it was like a lot of people, I think, from Eastchester bought cars, and it was definitely again, they weren't perfect, but it was a hell of a lot better, and they didn't have 100 and something cars.
Well, the law is designed like, there are two kinds of relief you get under a zoning code.
Yeah.
There's dimensional relief, meaning, height, width, setbacks and all, and the other is use. And they have a non-conforming use, which means they have the right to be there, okay? But the law is designed so that eventually it constricts and they go away. Now, in this particular case, they have to conform to what the planning board resolution says. And I've read the resolution about 3-4 times already. And we have a list of things that we're going to go over with them. And I met with Carlo, he's our building inspector, and Gary, who's the code enforcement officer. And, we went through everything. And that's what our meeting is for tomorrow, to go through every single item. And again, not that, we don't have to go out of business, but you know what? It's not our problem. They have to conform to what the planning board resolution says. And in the resolutions, what you're referring to is that's where it says no more than 40 cars, no more than 5 hours of operation, storage of vehicles, customer parking. I think there's supposed to be 5 customer spots on the site, on the south side. When you drive in, you make a left.
They advertise
There's supposed to
online
be, but there's not.
park on our street.
Right.
I mean, they've been showcased, they've done videos on the street coming around the bend there. I guess it's kind of, it's like a chicane.
Well, you can't prohibit people from parking on the street.
No.
As long as they are,
understand that.
as long as they're resident, they're, have registration and inspection and everything. But if they conform to what the resolution says, there would be plenty of parking on their own site. They wouldn't need to do that.
So we do feel like that their problem is being pushed on us, right? Like they want to maximize their amount of cars they can sell, and then no lots for customer parking. Like basically outside our door is the back entrance. Now you can't even walk through the dealership now. It's from the back entrance.
I know. It's very cumbersome.
Now we keep hearing about, we're giving them violations, but like, will that, what will actually, I mean, I know you're meeting tomorrow, but will it be slap on the wrist, like a 500, like, does it behoove them to keep pushing it out and kind of keep, hey, like, we can pay this fine, it's not a big deal, meanwhile we got 50 extra cars that we can sell?
No, not at all, because if there's a violation on the resolution by the planning board, right, on the conditions of planning, then they can get fined, of course, but, sometimes a fine isn't terribly painful for some people, but the other tool we have is we can revoke their certificate of occupancy, okay? That's the right to be there, and they're never going to want to forego that because that means they're out. So that's the real sort of Damocles, for lack of a better expression, that we have. But I suspect they'll be very receptive tomorrow. And I will be happy to report to you after we meet with them. Everyone, the building department, the town attorney, and myself, we're all sitting down. Going to go through a whole list, and we're going to go over what our resolution is. And I suspect very greatly that there'll be changes made there.
Is it like, do you go the landlord or the tenant? Or
no, we're going to the landlord,
right.
because the landlord is in charge of their lease.
Yeah.
And their lease is basically conditioned upon their compliance with the planning board resolutions. So, we're going right to the head, right to the, not going to say the serpent's head, but we're going right to the boss.
So he's the one who will get ultimately fined, or he's the one who the buck stops with, right?
Yeah, both. As one is the owner, one is the tenant.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have, we love living in Eastchester. Like I said, this is our second house. We've got all our kids here, our 13-year-old, but he doesn't want to hang out with us anymore, but the 2 girls are here, and it's like, we definitely have a lot of concern, even picking them up and back from the bus. They get the bus at the corner there by Daly. It's such a transient work. You never know on any day who's going to be kind of around there.
Yeah, plus you lived through the church renovation also.
That's another issue.
Yeah.
They didn't think they needed permits for anything either, but then we
They were working beyond their permit tonight.
Yeah.
They just are constantly.
Yeah, see, and when that happens, I know it's hard because the building inspector and the code enforcement officer generally go home at 4:30.
Yep.
And, the police officers respond, but it's not like their thing. They're not experts on it. So, you just take a little video and then send it to Gary, and then we go on them. Like, they had a big trench that wasn't properly covered. They were doing a whole bunch of things, but they got it. They figured it out.
The last holiday, was it Memorial Day?
Memorial,
yeah. Saturday morning, 6 o'clock.
Yes, you're not allowed to do construction work on weekends.
To do the roof. I was looking on my camera one day on a Wednesday, they took over our entire driveway without notifying us, and they just, they were doing demo on the roof. We found like bags of nails. I could show you bags of nails. that we
Yeah,
found.
kids and dogs are stepping on them and stuff. You
Yeah.
don't need that, yeah.
Zero. So now it's like,
The pastors told us not to contact him.
Okay, well, then you to make a simple phone
Yeah.
call to the Eastchester Police Department, and they shut it down immediately.
yeah, like, I feel bad about, ringing the police.
Yeah, but
department
don't,
about
you know
noise
what,
and that,
but like, I wouldn't feel bad about it, because, they know what the rule is. They're choosing to,
Right.
disturb your day. On a Memorial Day of all days, come on.
They got away with it for a year and a half. We didn't realize they couldn't work Saturdays. I mean, 2 weeks ago, they had someone working there, police came out, and they kept going, and we had to call them, police came out again. These guys just, they think they're above the law, like, that's kind of what the concern is.
It was the same thing tonight. The
Yeah.
police had to come twice. I'm frustrated. We did not have these issues on the street, and both are egregious.
Yeah. Well, we're going to start working it out on our end with the landlord directly. So we'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
I'm sorry for your
We
trouble.
thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
No problem.
For your time. Thanks.
Anyone else? Chief, you're going to jump all over Eastchester Motors. Anyway, anyone else? Anything further? And we care to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.